Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thursday Live Lessons. My name is Aldrine Guerrero. I'm your instructor for today. Joining me are Mr. Aaron, the voice, Nakamura. Say what's up, Aaron.
What's up?
And Kahai, the legend, Fergan. Say what's up, Kahai.
What's up?
It's been the original three for quite some time now. We haven't had a guest in a long time. I didn't want to bother Mike this morning because I didn't, I don't want to keep bothering Mike. But like, Mike, are you off today? Are you off today? Mike, are you off? You want to hang out? You wanna talk and stuff? I don't want to be that guy. So I'm like, yeah, maybe if Mike wants to come on, maybe he'll come to us. Maybe he'll listen to this episode and we're like, man, I miss those guys and I want to come on. But who knows? Because usually we try to get him, and I mention him because we try to get him like on the first Thursday of every month. But then, and today is the first Thursday of July, so we should have gotten him today. But I don't know. I'll give him a call. I'll see. Yeah. But what happens here on Thursday Live Lessons is you guys have questions and we have answers. So ask away. We are live, so we do have a live chat you guys can ask us questions from, and we also get some emails, some letters, some voicemails even, sometimes we'll answer any and all of your burning ukulele questions or non-ukulele questions, whatever. We'll just answer whatever in this show. Or if we don't get questions at all, we'll just talk about stuff. We just had a nice discussion about Ghostwriter, this 90s PBS show like that. We could talk about that. If you guys want to ask us about stuff, tough luck. We're going to talk about Ghostwriter then, so ask away so that we don't talk about Ghostwriter.
If you do ask something not ukulele related, please make it 90s related, because that seems to be our specialty.
Please make it Nicktoons related. So that seems to be our forte.
Yeah.
It's my Nicktoons cell is coming. I bought one. Speaking of which, I finally own a piece of Doug history. I have the I bought an animation cell that was used in an episode of Doug. That makes me so happy as like a Doug fan. I don't know why I never had one. It wasn't that bad actually. It was like $50 or something. I'm like, man, this is pretty good. It's pretty good. So own one. I'm gonna like frame it and stuff. I'm gonna put it right there so everyone can see it next Thursday or the Thursday after. Or I don't know, whenever people deliver to me. Delivery has been kind of acting up lately.
It's like this tiny, and then it's gonna be on your wall. So
yeah, it's right there. Like
really
just trust me. It's a Doug cell. But yeah, I'm excited. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about ukuleles, so let's get those out of the way so that we can talk about Nicktoons afterwards, right, Kahai?
yeah, that's the point of this podcast.
yes. Well, that's what I want to talk about. All right. Anyway, go hit me up with the first question, Kahai.
So Renee, like in the chat, she said that she liked the electric slide play along.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then she asked, I think she's asking about the electric slide play along. She asked if did you film on different islands? So
yes, we did. It's like one of those classic YouTube collaborations where like they film their parts and then we film our parts, and then Aaron just like works the 500 hours to put it all together, and and that's how
10,000 hours
10,000 hours to make that video, and it looks good. Now I filmed it with Aaron here. That's why I was wearing the masks and stuff, just trying to be safe and whatnot. So we did the play along for that in Kapaa. And I think Cynthia did hers on Oahu in Kaka'ako, from what it looks like. She did it in Kaka'ako, where she lives, by the way. Jeez, let's get I'm just gonna move to Hawaii and go to Kaka'ako. It's like, oh snap,
most artsy neighborhood ever.
Exactly. I should do Patreon, baby. But yeah, she's she did it in Kaka'ako. It looked really nice. If you guys don't know what that is, it's like this kind of new, like the old hipster place was like Chinatown back then. When we were there on Oahu, like Chinatown was like the cool hip new place, but now Kaka'ako is like the cool new hip place to be, and it's being very developed. There's some like really cool like mural like walls that people kind of check out there. I think Lenny, from what it looks like, maybe he did it in his backyard. I don't know. It looks like some kind of backyard.
Yeah.
He's in San Diego, or where is he?
He's in San Francisco, I believe.
San Francisco?
Yeah. but I think he's from San Diego, like his family or whatever. That's where he's from. But I think he lives in San Francisco now.
And his last name is San Jose.
His last name is San Jose. So it's
very
confusing. Yeah, he lives in San Francisco. So we did that. We basically, created the track, which what you guys heard and stuff. So I did the the basis, just like the guitar and the ukulele, and I did like a vocal track to it. So there's a track with my vocals instead of Cynthia's vocals in there, because Lenny, and I usually don't, but Lenny wanted me to sing on it so that like he could kind of feel the groove with his bass, because Lenny played bass and drums. So I'm like, okay, cool, I'll make one just for you, Lenny. So this is just for Lenny, like to make sure don't hand it out to anybody else. So I sang like this because I can't sing as high as Cynthia.
I think as a special video, we should release that original track, but with Cynthia, right? Like with Cynthia singing. Like,
yes, just dub it with like the the scratch track that I made. Yeah. So once I made the scratch track, I sent it over to Lenny, and Lenny added some bass and drums to it. And then once Lenny added bass and drums to it, we sent it over to Cynthia, which then sang on the track. And then I added all kinds of little little ditties and stuff to make it bigger. Okay, so once that's done, once I kind of developed the track, I filmed with Aaron. We played the track and we danced and sang along and stuff. So he takes all that, and so did the other two, like Cynthia and Lenny, also kind of danced and sang along or played along with the track. Aaron takes all that footage and creates this awesome little masterpiece of a play along, and that's the final product that you guys see. But we started doing this back in like April or something, March or April. It was supposed to be slated for like an April lesson or something like that, but with a collab that big, like, kind of took a lot of time, and and they're busy, and I didn't think I'd be busy, but I got kind of busy as well. So it took a little bit longer. I was very excited for it. I wanted to tell like a bunch of people, but then we want there to be small bits of surprise for you folks. But Cynthia and I have been friends for a long time, so it's actually been it's been in the works for a while. We wanted to collaborate on something, but now we finally got to do it, so it's cool. I think this just it opens up for a lot more cool stuff. I wanted to include like Abe in it too, and Steven. I wanted to get like the San Francisco Uke Fest crew to kind of do it, but we'll have to settle for just Cynthia and Lenny, and then maybe in a bigger collab we'll have the rest of the SF Uke Fest fam. But yeah, that's that, and that, kids, is how collaboration is made.
Yeah.
But thank you.
In the chat are saying that Lenny lives in Oakland.
Okay.
So right across the bridge.
Yeah, Oakland. That's cool. We've stayed in Oakland. Yeah,
that was where we stayed the first time that we went to the Bay Area. Yeah,
it was cool, man. I dug it. Russ had a place there, and we stayed at. So it was nice. I liked it. Let's see. Any other questions? I don't know what else to say regarding the it was cool. Oh, so we were just talking before the show started. My favorite part, hands down, Lenny. And you know what I'm talking about if you watch the video.
Yeah, somebody else mentioned that. I think
really?
Yoda mentioned that specific part.
Hands down, my favorite part. Do you want to share what you shared, or you don't want to share what you shared earlier, Aaron? You can give people like a little like behind the scenes. What you did do.
I have a version of it where it was animated with actual like electricity going around the sign and like the sound of electricity. But I think I played it a few times back, and it was a little bit overkill. I didn't want to go for the cheap laughs, right? So I dialed it back a little and just had the sign. And then if you look at it too, like there the first take that I did was just like a blur, like a pixelated blur. So I kept the pixelated blur, and then over that I put the sign. So so it's double the censorship.
Yeah.
So that YouTube doesn't come after us.
But Lenny, when he sent his videos, he was like, oh, sorry about that, but you guys can edit, right? And I was like, yes, I can edit the heck out of that.
So good.
Yeah. So we'll take that video with the like the fully electric sign, and then we can have
the Aldrine dub.
Yeah, original version.
And
Yeah.
But yeah. So for the people who haven't seen the video yet, go and check it out. It's our version of Electric Slide on ukulele.
Marcia Griffiths.
Yeah, I'm sure if you just type in Electric Slide ukulele into anything, that'll probably be the first thing that pops
It was
up.
that surprised me that no one's done that song. That was like so surprising.
Really?
And it was just like, yeah, it was just like a random thing. I like that I don't know how we got to doing that. I think we were just in Frisco and we're just like, they're just fooling around or something, and then I started playing that riff to Electric Slide because we were just playing C and F or whatever. And then I forgot what it was. No. It was on an Aloha Friday Live Jam. That's what it was.
And Cynthia was in the chat, right? So you're like, oh yeah, we should do this song with Cynthia.
That's
and Cynthia was like, oh yeah.
That's what it was. It was just like so random, and yeah, it was surprising. It was surprising that no one's done that because it's like a 2-chord song in C or C sharp technically, but you could do it. You could do it in C. So I figured, like the young guns of YouTube were all over that, but I guess not. It's like, oh, I'm gonna claim this one. I guess this is mine. I'm gonna claim this. Because young guns of YouTube, like if a song came out like yesterday, there's a uke tutorial on it the next day in C.
In C. Yeah, everything in C.
I don't mean that, but yeah, it's for real. Like they're fast, and that's like a compliment. They're like if something's cool right now, those cool kids have got it. They've got the cool down. So it's like, all right, cool. We'll stay in our own lane and do 80s music.
Yeah. There's a deep pull.
Yeah, it was nice though, and it was really nice to collaborate with Cynthia and Lenny because we've been meaning to. Like, I think we were talking about doing a Christmas tune once. We're talking about doing like this kind of duet thing. But I think this was perfect. I think this is the perfect thing.
Yeah.
And she can do like a dance tutorial if she wants to, like for Patreon or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was fun. It was good fun. And if you guys watch the original Marcia Griffiths video, you can make some like comparisons that stuff that Aaron did to the video that were callbacks to the original. So it was one of those like really cool play along videos that we did that has a lot of callbacks to the original. We don't do too much of these, and so enjoy this one because I think the last time we did it was the was that guy who did the soundtrack for Tarzan?
Yeah,
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins. Is that Phil Collins video?
Like Not Another Day in Paradise, right? Or Another
Day in Another Day in Paradise. Yeah. So that was the last time we did like callbacks to the original video and whatnot. Aaron even has like a side by side video, and I think we have it on Instagram I believe. The side by side comparison video of like the Ukulele Underground version and like the Phil Collins version. So make sure you check that out too, and follow us on Instagram while you're there. Follow us on Instagram, Uke Underground. Yeah. All right, enough about that. Next question.
Like sometimes there is another question, but I just wanted to bring up. Sometimes it's like fun. We talk about like people ask, oh, how do you guys pick songs? And sometimes it's just like we actually look at the music video and it's like it would be pretty fun to redo this music video.
Yeah. There are a couple that I really want to do, but we'll wait and see if we can do it first. And then we'll put it out.
Sometimes the scope is a little bit beyond us too, right? Where it's like, oh, if only we could do this. Yeah.
I love that when people recreate videos. Like Jimmy Fallon has done some great ones. What he did one with Paul Rudd. It was King of Wishful Thinking. That's my favorite.
Oh yeah.
They did a shot for shot kind of redo of that because they kind of look like the two guys from who was that did that? that song. I forget, but yeah.
and if you watch that music video,
Go
right?
West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch that music video, it's kind of like it has nothing to do with the actual song. It's just like kind of random images. So yeah,
No,
that's
well,
like...
actually, I think that song was from the movie Pretty Woman.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah.
some of it was like
Mhm.
a reference to Pretty. Yeah.
They just have like cheerleaders though dancing, right? Or like at one point, or like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like
There's
a
weird stuff all
Yeah.
over that
Yeah.
video, which is why Jimmy Fallon wanted to do it.
Yeah. What's
It's so
like a
random.
dream one that, like, what's one that you really want to do? Like, but it might be out of our reach. But what's like a dream one that if you had all the all the everything that all the budget that that you wanted and all the resources and stuff, which one would you do? We've never had an Aaron an Ask Aaron like Thursday live lesson.
if we could do it, it would have to be Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh,
because that's
good
one of those
answer.
iconic
Good
videos
answer.
that has everything in it.
Yes, ninjas.
Yeah,
it's my favorite part.
Non sequitur, and we'd have to find somebody really good to sing it. But if we could, and
That's a
we
good
had
one.
all the budget in the world, like I would redo that.
All the resources, all the budget.
Yeah,
that's the one. That's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
What's another one? I just want to know. I could just sit here and listen to all your ideas.
Well, I have a couple that I want to do, and we might be able to do it. But
okay.
We'll wait to see if we can. Like, if we can actually do it, then I just want to put it out. I don't want anybody to snake my idea.
Okay. All right.
Like you're talking about Jimmy Fallon. He does those. Like but I like the ones where it's like obviously college kids or high school kids and they have no budget to make anything, but they recreate stuff. So like the one that I think about is like, I think it's like the opening to the Goofy movie. It's like the first 15 minutes and they recreate it like shot for shot. It's like, it's like even the camera angles and everything that they get the details so right. It's like, that is like, chef's kiss. Like, just so good.
Yep.
Yeah. When I first got Disney Plus, that was the first movie I watched on Disney Plus because it wasn't available anywhere. Hell yeah, man! Goofy movie is the best movie.
Yeah.
Because like I tried to search for it before, like on the other like streaming apps and stuff, but they only have a very Goofy movie, but they don't have a Goofy movie.
Oh, the first one has a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, soundtrack for that is so good. Like that if we listen to each other's hearts. Like if we had someone that can, that can sing like that, I would definitely do a lesson on that song. I don't even care. We got like 5 views on it. And it's
nobody remembers that song.
But yeah, I mean, that's just one of the songs, but all the songs in that in that movie is amazing. It's so good. Great soundtrack.
Yeah. I like it better than the second movie because the second movie is about like X Games, right? It's like, not as good.
Yeah, that's one of those that's like the first one is always going to be the best. But like, what's an unpopular opinion? And since we're talking about Disney, Return of Jafar, best in the trilogy. People will be like, no, that's blasphemy. But you know what? Fight me. Sure, I like the original Aladdin, but that's a given. That's that's a given. But Return of Jafar is the best sequel ever made.
It's like right now, the big thing that I learned right now is that there's a trilogy.
Yeah, King of Thieves is the third one with his dad.
Even I knew there was a second movie. I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, Return of Jafar, because everyone hated it but me. It wasn't even Robin Williams who was like, who was doing the voice of the genie. You know who did do the voice for the genie? It's the guy who does the voice for Homer. So Homer played the, and he played it like Homer. Like he sounded like Homer.
Really?
Yeah, it was like the genie. Or Homer as the genie. Imagine that.
Wow.
Now, if you watch that movie again, you're like, yeah, this is amazing. And it was around the best character ever, Iago. Because You know, if I know one thing that everyone loved about Aladdin, it was Iago and Gilbert Gottfried.
Yep.
So, just got the recipe for an amazing movie.
I think I didn't even know that Gilbert Gottfried was like a stand-up comedian, and like
Mhm.
a pretty raunchy stand-up comedian
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Like I just knew him from like Aladdin. It's like, you mean this guy who kind of like who makes this funny funny voice? You mean that he's
Yeah.
like kind of a dirty comedian? It's like, whoa. I guess
see, we can talk about all this stuff. This is all
Yeah.
90s stuff still. Like, we can talk about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, next question.
okay.
Next music question.
Yeah.
Return to Far, go watch it. It's on Disney Plus, everybody.
Yeah. So where did it go? Devin, I think, asked. He was asking about, or he was talking about. Okay, right here. So he said, so looking at solo secrets, the islands of patterns are great. When you start a song, do you plan out beforehand where you're gonna go, or do you just go at it?
It's good to kind of, like, know the key. Once you know the key, that basically gives you like a built-in plan, because you instantly know where the islands are going to be if you know what key it's in. So if someone tells me, oh, it's in the key of C, I'm like, bam. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and we got 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, that's my two islands that I'm going to be working on. If it's in G, bam, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also 7, 8, 9, 10. Like, we got these kind of built-in islands depending on what key. That's kind of like the beauty of Solo Secrets Revealed. And if you're, we made it so that if you're jumping in on a set, if someone's playing, someone's playing music and you're jumping in on that song, you could solo in that song. All you need to know is what key it is. But as far as what I do with the islands, that's kind of not planned. That just goes just by feel, like if I mean, I have go-to kind of riffs that I do and stuff, but as far as like planning it out, it's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do this, and I want to bend on like whatever that, and like, no, you just kind of let it go. And that's what makes a good solo, is just kind of do it by by feel. If it sounds like it's appropriate to bend there or hammer on or pull off there, then you do that. But as far as your roadmap, you can, it's right there.
Yep.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I
how do you improvise, Kai?
Yeah. I think the islands, like, or because I edited Solo Secrets, and a lot of times, like, I'll edit a lot of this stuff and not have known about it beforehand, and then like by editing, I'm like, oh, I learned, I learned whatever, this solo song a little bit, or I learned this idea and stuff. So I knew the major skills, I knew how to play the major skills, but I never thought about soloing using like that fifth mode, right? Or that second island that you learn,
Mixolydian.
Yeah. And so like taking that from Solo Secrets, like I started to solo using that, and then after that it's like so easy to just put like the first, the major scale, and then the Mixolydian, and then like play all the notes in between too, available on your fretboard. And I think that's like a great way to actually, it's not just like sitting down and learning note by note like what your fretboard is, but you're learning like actual application of like, oh, I know that I play like fret 2 and 4 here, so I can play a fret 6 is also safe, and then fret 7 is safe here, and then fret 9, like you learn the patterns more by muscle memory, more than by like what they're called, or like what notes specifically you're playing. And I think that's more important to playing a solo or improvising than, because like when you're solo or improvising, are you ever calling out the notes like, I'm playing a D now, I'm playing like a B flat? It's like, no. And really the note names and where they aren't important. Is the sound and like how you're playing it is, the key part. So I think learning by practicing that is more helpful. I don't know, like, so I know some people really do need to sit down and they're like, I just need to know every single note. But to me, like, that's not really applicable to actual playing eventually when you play with other people. Yeah.
But you, Aaron?
Well, I don't solo really, so it's not like I have
Do you
any.
stay on those islands or use
I don't really have any
Mixolydian?
experience doing that, but I mean, like, I kind of like came up with the way that we show our fretboard, because like for whatever kind of small picking that I do, that's kind of how I visualize it. You know, I know which notes are gonna be used, and in my mind, those are the ones that kind of like stick out. So I represented that with bubbles or like, you know, dots on the fretboard. And so that way your brain can like just focus on those. Like, I know that these are the ones that I'm going to be using. So I can kind of ignore everything else. And then
just focus on those ones.
Yeah, even if I mess up and don't play the right note, as long as it's one of those notes, it's going to kind of fit, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah. So and that kind of helps you memorize solos or like, you know, picking parts easier. But when you put together that Solo Secrets Revealed program, it kind of like, it was really helpful to visualize it that way too. But I don't know, like, I always kind of wanted to ask you, like, how do you, what shows up in your mind when you solo, or how is
it's exactly that, just like the islands and stuff, and then the bridges between, so like the islands and the bridges between the islands. So like for example, like C, like 0, you know, like I said, 0 1 2 3. So and then like you have fret 5. This entire fret is like a super safe, and then 7 8 9 10. So like I would have, that's how I would visualize it. Like I would use this to, you know, to kind of cross between, you know, between islands, and I'd have like I'd have certain riffs that, you know, that I do based on that island, based on that key, if it's major or if it's minor. You know, there's always a lot of go-tos, like that's one, you know, like do that in C, in, you know, in B flat, in G, you know, like whatever. There's like that's why I mentioned it earlier, you know, I have go-to like riffs that, you know, that I like to do. If I'm in the that Mexilidian island, I know it's going to be that kind of G, and I know that like when we play G, a lot of times we hit this kind of note here on the 5th fret, right? So same thing, like, you know, when I'm playing C, I like to kind of hit that, you know, 5th fret, quote unquote, kind of note. And I know that I can kind of go from that note to that 5th fret note chromatically, so I can do something going up. And I do that a lot, and I know he says you play with me a lot. You hear that, you know, you hear that a lot. I can do this, and then I can kind of like do that half note going back into that island. And if I want to go back to this, I'm gonna hit that bridge. So and that's how I kind of go down. So visualizing you know, the two islands and the bridge between is exactly how I would, you know, see stuff if I was doing an actual solo. So that whole Solo Secrets Revealed, it's basically revealing how I visualize the fretboard when I'm soloing. It's exactly what I see.
So like with that, it's kind of like, you know what the safe notes are. You can play all the unsafe notes, or quote unquote unsafe notes, but as long as you resolve to something in the island or in that pattern, then or as long as you don't linger on an unsafe note, you're
you should
totally
be fine. And I mean, like, you know, there are times to play the like the wrong quote unquote notes and stuff, and there are times that you shouldn't. You know, there's I think it was when kind of I was learning from Jake. You know, we were meeting up in cafes and stuff, and he was kind of teaching me stuff. He noticed that like when I was soloing, I basically just, you know, like stuck to the 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, you know, like just the notes in the major scale or minor scale. And he's like, okay, why don't you like kind of step out of the box? And I purposely like did solos that would have like wrong notes in it to see how I can make it correct. So that was like one of the things that I did to kind of get better. And now the 0 1 2 3 4, you know, or 1 2 0 1 2 3 that I'm talking about, it's not just the you know, the pattern that we talk about, like the 0 2 0 1 3 0 2 3. In my eyes, it's the whole 0, 1, 2, 3 fret. So like all of that to me can be used, and then I go to the bridge, and then I 7, 8, 9, 10. All of that can be, all of that can be used as well. So if I do a solo, something like, and that's all, that's all the notes in that. But Solo Secrets Revealed kind of made it easy enough to digest if you just know, like one pattern. So I still think like teaching things in patterns are the best way to kind of to teach things. If you can get the pattern, then all you have to do is just follow the pattern, not just with this, with a bunch of other things, but really, the ultimate goal is to learn that pattern by kind of break away from it, and learn everything, and not just see it as that pattern, but as those frets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like that's we always come back to this, and then like it's kind of like a controversial thing, and sometimes we get people who come back, right, and they're like, oh, but I need it and stuff. But I think that's like the downfall of like using tabs, right? Is like people who learn through tabs, you can see where they just try to learn linearly. Like they just try to learn through the song by playing from start to end. Like that's all I'm trying to do. And I think like that's not really like a natural way to learn like picking necessarily, or learn the melody line of songs. Because I think most people who play picking or play, like do like little solos and stuff, they learn by like clusters. You just learn like, oh, I learned like parts, one, like this part 1, I just learned this little bit, and because it's all in like frets 1 to 4, and then part 2 is from frets 4 to 7 or whatever. Like I think that is like a more, and that's kind of like how we teach pickings, right? Like we teach it like, okay, you're gonna be staying in these 4 frets. So, or if you look at our picking diagrams, it's like usually like, oh, we don't have the whole fretboard lit up with like, oh, these are all the notes you can do. It's just like, these are the key notes that you have to focus on for picking right now. And then like when it moves on, and then it's like, these are the key notes that you have to focus on. So I think that is like a more natural way of learning than like trying to just go like think about the whole thing in your head. Because if you try to think of like a whole song, it's like that's a lot of notes you have to think about, and I don't think that is like how most people perform or play stuff. Is usually just like, oh, I know the intro picking is right here, then I play chords, then I play the verse picking, then I play chorus picking or something, So it's break it down into chunks. Chunks are like manageable, and that's how most people do it, I think.
So it's really just kind of visualizing where where safe and where not safe is, and if you want to go to an unsafe place, as long as you return safely, it's all good.
I think even when you first showed, right, like the islands and stuff right now, you like slid into like the island, right, like from the first note on C, you slid into whatever, and that some people get caught up on that. They're like, well, how do you know where to start your slide? Is like, well, the start isn't really important because nobody hears that first note that you hit. It's the end that's important. It's like making sure you land on that right note at the end. But even then, if you hit a wrong note, it is like Devin pointed out, like a wrong note is always like just a half step away from the right note. So you either go down 1 fret or you go up 1 fret, and you should be golden. Like don't let that stop you. The worst thing you can do is like hit that wrong note and not play anything after it. It's like, even if you hit it again, that's better than just like letting it linger, because that is the most attention drawing.
And I mean, like, there was, and I'll mention again, when I was being taught, like in cafes and stuff, there was a point where I was experimenting to purposely hit and linger on a wrong note, and really make it
you can get away with.
Yes, because like it's one of those things that if you hit it and it sounds sour, but then if you do another thing and you hit that again, then it'll kind of like, okay, maybe he's meaning to do that. That's like where it gets like super creative. So something like this note right here in C is like super like Like it's not supposed to be there. But that's the one that I experimented with a lot. Is that one. It's like, how do I make this fit? So I was doing stuff like you know what I mean? And then like the second time I hit it, like, okay, I kind of like, that doesn't sound right, but yeah, he did it again, so I guess he meant to do it. Like, it's really,
and then also the other things around it, kind of frame it so that it's like, it's okay, he's with me.
It's cool. But yeah, it's a lot of experimenting, and improvisation is exactly that. It's a lot of like finding out what sounds good to you, and then just like, because improv is something that comes off the top of your head. Sure, we can give you like the roadmaps and stuff too, so that you can have safe places to go. But for the most part, it really is a matter of self-expression. Like improvisation is like one of the purest musical self-expressions that you can do, because it's not based on on anybody else's choices, but yours. Is the choices that you make, choices what kind of notes to string together, how long to play them, with what kind of technique, or how loud, or how how soft and stuff. Those are totally all up to the person playing that improvisation. So because it is a self-expression, it's a lot of times it gets better if you just keep figuring out what sounds good to you. So like in practice, if you want to get better at improvisation, you have to make those mistakes, so you then know what works and what doesn't work, and what you like and what you don't like. Because sometimes what doesn't work can actually work given to someone else. Like that F sharp note there is very, very doesn't work. It doesn't work like at all. But if you if you be creative enough, you can make it work for you. Because I've made it work for me, and now I've made like that note, the B flat, the D sharp note work a lot for me in those in the key of C. And and if I transpose, it works on any key. But really, it's you finding out a lot about yourself, and about like what sounds good to you, and what's aesthetically pleasing, or even what's melodic, because I always kind of preach about having a good melody to the solo, and not just playing notes just to play the notes just because you can, like have good melody behind it, have intent, and that intent comes from here, comes from the brain, comes from your heart, comes from what you like. Okay.
Yeah.
What about that? Like when you're soloing, do you kind of do you think ahead a little bit, or do you stumble across something that and it's like, oh, that sounds good, I'm gonna like make that into like a hook or like a thing?
A lot of the times, because I'm kind of melody driven, I think about the melody of the song itself. If we're just jamming to like some chords and stuff, it's a little bit harder because there's no like built-in. But if I'm improvising to a song, for example, that's already made, then I can take stuff from the actual song itself, because you don't want to stray too far away from what the song sounds like. You know what I mean? You don't want to be playing like Arabic scales on like for example, like or electric slide. Like you know what I mean? Like you don't want to be doing. I was gonna say "Wonderful Tonight" because I always say one. It's become like a meme for some people. Like some private students are like, "Wonderful Tonight." Yeah, you like that song, don't you? I'm like, I do.
Your go-to example.
It is my go-to example. You're not gonna do Arabic scales on like on "Wonderful Tonight" because it just doesn't fit. You know what I mean? But if I were to do solos on "Wonderful Tonight," not only do I have the actual riff of, but I also have a, like I have those two things to pull from, so I can do something like which is like combining the two, and that's like, to me, okay, that either becomes it, or I can take that and make it even better, so like to kind of evolve it to something that I would do. So that now it's like, now not only is it melodic, not only is it like a self-expression and an improvisation, but it fits and it's appropriate for the song.
Yeah. I you talking about like practicing the wrong note and stuff too.
Yeah,
it made me think about like it improvising. It really is like, if if you know like improv comedy, right? They always say like you say yes and you don't say no but, because like no but like will stop the thing, and it'll make it where it's like, oh, I'm trying to veer off course, or it's like it's a very abrupt stop. And I think the better you are at like improvising music is like thinking about that no and, or yes and not no and it's yes
Just
and
go with it.
I love improvising, man. Like improvise, it's such a cool like self like, expression, and like not only in music but in a lot of stuff that I do. Like I just go with the flow as an improvise. Like I mean, we've said it before here on this show. Like when we do the UU plus solos, for example, or any lesson at that. I don't have a script. I don't have anything. I just have like an outline of what I'm gonna teach. Like, okay, here's a song, here are the chords, and here's the picking pattern or whatever. But for the most part, what I say in between or how I present it is always improvised. Like that's. And it's, I don't know, it's just something that I love doing. A lot, this might get me in trouble, but a lot of times when we do like festivals and stuff like that, same thing. I'll have like just a rough outline of what I'm gonna teach for like that festival's workshop, and then I'm like, oh, guess I'm just gonna go and wing it. I'm gonna teach this. As long as I teach this, as long as I check
Cover
all the
most of the things.
I covered what I said what I was gonna talk about. Everything in between is it's just improv, really, and I love doing it. And I mean, like it's kind of like a challenge for myself. Like, can I do this, with no preparation or whatever? But it's cool. Even like with performances, like I just tell Aaron, like, okay, we're gonna play this song, this song, this song, and this song. But hang on to your hats. I might change it. I don't know. Like maybe mid song, I might change something. Just let me be me, Aaron. Like just let me do my thing. It's in everything that I do. It's because that's I know I'm being true to myself. That's why it's what I would say, what I would what I would teach, what I would play, what I would sing.
Yeah,
cool.
That's why it's always hard for like venues that ask for a set list.
Yeah,
like what's your set list? I don't know. Just tell them this, I guess. We'll probably play those songs, but I don't know.
Yeah, like you read the crowd, you know what I mean? Like if we put together like 5 songs that are like, oh, this is pretty good, but the crowd's not that into it, like I'm not gonna like play
force it on them.
Yeah, exactly. Like
try to figure out what they would want.
Let's sing Sweet Caroline together or whatever, and like no one sings along.
Or it's like if you're feeling out the crowd, right? And then it's not that the energy, it's not like people are sad or like the energy dips too much, but you can feel like, oh, there's like kind of like a lull, or people are like coming down from that last song or whatever. Then like a song like Wonderful Tonight would really work, right? It's like, oh, it's an easy song for people to listen to, and it's still good, and people will be happy listening to it, but it's not like, if there's like that lull and then you just hit them with like Land Down Under, it's like people are gonna be like, oh, what's going on? Like, whoa, I thought I was taking
liking
a break.
That mellowness.
Yeah. So you it kind of is like you got to play it by ear, or it's better to play it by ear. The thing I always think about too, or the example I think about is the person I think does a really good job is Jason, right? Jason at like just improvising and going with the flow and not saying like, oh no, I don't want to do it like that. He's just like, yeah, sure, whatever, let's just do it. Because like I think even when you guys are playing Little Wing together, right? Like Jason does like the same thing, but then he's like a couple beats off, like behind you, and so he like hits that harmonic just like behind you a little bit. And like I don't know if the first time it was like intentional, but after that, every time you guys do the harmonic part, he does it like a couple beats off, so it's like a delay almost too, right? Like he intentionally starts to do it, repeating it, and then you start to realize like, oh, this is like, instead of it becoming a mistake, it's like, oh yeah, repetition like legitimizes that into like being like, oh, that's a cool thing that Jason just picked out, whether it was like intentional or not. He had to repeat it, even though it's like, oh, it might not necessarily work every time. He just has like the guts to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it.
I did it then. I guess I'm gonna have to do it again.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have no idea how like spot on you are, because when we did the cruise with Jason, it was like the coolest thing, because I because I improvise so much. like having somebody else that also improvises is like right up my alley. Because usually it's like if you do something like a cruise or a tour or or a festival, it's like, okay, we got to do this at this time and then this time or whatever. But doing stuff with Jason is like, yeah, whatever, people show up and people show up and we'll do it at this time, I guess. But maybe like he was so lax and he was so cool about everything that like he's one of my favorite people to work with because he's so lax and so like just improv really.
He was like, I don't think it's gonna. People were saying that that time didn't work for them, so we're just gonna move it to this. Like, okay, I guess we'll do that then.
He's super cool. Like I love Jason. He's like that guy. He's like, I've never seen him mad. Like kind of like a Jake, or like I've never seen him mad, or like or even just not be having a good time, like or be sad or anything. I've never seen a guy not enjoy himself or at least be content with what he's doing. Really cool dude. Jason Arimoto is a gem. That man should be protected.
I think
so if you're in the LA area, he's still selling ukuleles like from his apartment. He'll do like he's doing like contactless payments and delivery. So if you need an ukulele and you're in LA, U Space LA, they're still operating. I don't think they're doing it from the store, but but check him out and buy your ukulele from him. Keep him going throughout all this craziness.
I think they're still trying to do classes and lessons too, right? Like he's teaching online too. So
he does Skype, I believe.
Yeah, be sure to check him out. Because like even when we filmed his lesson, right, his blues lesson, he had like some things written out, but then he was just like going and he was like, oh yeah, and then you just do it like this, and he would just play it. And then after we filmed it, we'd be like, okay, we need you to do that like one more time so we can get it like again, and we can make sure that we have it for the video. But he was just like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever you guys need, because he's just like super relaxed about it.
Yeah, cool dude. All right, anything else?
Ron in the chat said that he bought his ukulele from Jason.
Oh yeah, Jason's a cool dude, man. Like we've always loved Jason. Like from the very 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 beginning of him just like hanging out at the Ukulele Underground forums, even like pre U Space. He's always been like a cool dude.
Yeah.
What was his screen name on
Face Melting
Ukulele? That's right, on the forums and on YouTube. So good. I guess so good.
Was I don't want to give it away, but was Jason's alternate like account or alternate personality, was that like a whole nother account, or was that just like another video he did?
I think it was like another account. Like, are you talking about the masked man?
Yeah, I try not to give it away too much, but
yeah. I think that was a separate account. No, I'm sure. Nah, I guess maybe I shouldn't say anything.
Well, no, it's nothing
He's
bad.
trying to keep this 20-year-old joke or 10-year-old joke going. That's cool.
It's nothing bad, but it's just like it'd be funny for people to find out on their own, right? Like to go and dig and look for it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm sure we'll post something else too. Yeah. Okay.
You have a lot of stuff on the show notes from a Goofy movie to Return of Jafar to old school masked ukulele.
yeah. Sometimes when it's like that, it's like that's when the podcast comes out late on Fridays. It doesn't come out
too many links.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Ron asked, have you ever used Acapella App? Is that hard to use? I've seen a lot of people using it during the pandemic.
I don't know what that is actually. So I want to say no. I've never used it. But what is that? What is the Acapella App? Kai, do you know what that is?
I don't know for sure, but I kind of want to say it's one of those apps where you record yourself multiple times, so you can do like harmonies with yourself, or you can do you know.
That's cool.
Yeah. I kind of want to say it's that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I was as good as like Jacob Collier, like making harmonies and stuff, maybe I'll do that. But I can't even do 2-part harmony that great, just because if I sing and that beginner, not beginner, but like that that beginning harmony like is already kind of flat or sharp, the rest of my harmony is just gonna go crazy. I'm not the best singer. Like I think I've had everyone, not everyone, but I've fooled a lot of people these these how many decades like of me singing. And but I've never like kept it hidden or anything. I've never not said I was not good, but singing not my forte. That's not like my and that's not me trying to be humble. Like I know good singers, like, and I'm not one of them. So to do something on like an acapella app and stuff, I don't know, it would just like highlight how much I don't like my voice.
I guess he was just saying that people are using it to collaborate too. So
cool.
Because we were talking about the electric slide video.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know. That's cool that an app does that. It makes people kind of collaborate a lot, a lot easier. But yeah, I'm like an old school YouTuber, like from like 2004, 2005. That like collaborations means like, okay, you do your part and I'm gonna do mine, like on GarageBand or whatever. You put together, and I'm gonna lip sync on the video, and I'm gonna sync the video up and stuff. And still true to this day, apparently, from the last video that we did, and it still works, and it's it's all good. That's how I've been doing it. But if there's an easier way to do it and stuff, and lets you connect with a bunch of people from all over the place, yeah, I would check it out. Yeah. But I have never used it, so if that was a question, I haven't.
I think to kind of piggyback off of what you said, like that you're not really a singer, or you wouldn't really consider. That we get that like a lot from a lot of people who say like, I'm not a singer, so I don't want to learn songs that have singing in it or something. I want to focus on being a soloist and an instrumentalist. But would you say that being a soloist or an instrumentalist has helped you better as a singer, or has singing in any way helped you with soloing and being an instrumentalist too?
Yeah, I'd say so, because if you sing, you can you then have an idea on better phrasing, like because singing, like, you can run out of breath when you sing something. When you're playing stuff, you don't run out of breath, you just keep playing, but like a phrase ends when you have to take a breath, like, so knowing like a good length of a phrase is like one whole breath. Same thing, with the ukulele. So I think it's made me a better player, kind of knowing where to separate the phrases, and kind of knowing when I'm overplaying and when I can definitely add more stuff to my phrases, or how to just phrasing in general it's kind of it's helped a lot. So I think singing does help in that way. Yeah, it's fun though. I love singing. I'm just not that good at it, but I love it. I love doing it, and I like it. And I think it's just the energy that I exude. And people are like, look at him having fun up there, even though he's not that great. Like, he's all right. Like, his uke is good, like, but he's just doing his thing. And I think that's how I've gotten this far, like, in my career. It's like,
I mean, that's what music is about, right?
Yeah,
you
right?
gotta want to do it. So I understand, like, some people don't want to sing.
Yeah.
They want to just play ukulele, and so that's kind of part of it too, right? If you're not interested in learning how to sing, then don't, because because the interest is what's gonna carry you.
Yep.
So yeah, if you want to learn how to sing and you like singing, then just keep singing, and the more you do it, the better you'll get. And same thing with learning ukulele. If you like playing ukulele, if you want to get better, then just keep doing it, and you will.
But don't like not do it because you think you sound bad, or because other people think you sound bad. Just do it. Just
exactly.
Just do it. If you like doing it, just do it. Don't be afraid. It's fine. I'm not, and take it from me, guys.
Well, that's the thing. You've traveled the world doing it. So
exactly.
Like...
I'm living proof that you can,
like
you can do it.
Yeah,
you can just go ahead, and But it's cool. I met a lot of great singers, and it's one of those, like, I get jealous every time. Like, I wish I could just steal your voice. Like,
But then that also kind of pushes you too, right?
Yeah, of course.
To keep doing it. Yeah.
I've kind of just like my mantra has been like, hey, like I'm the only one that sounds like me, so I guess that's like I'm not trying to like sound like an R&B singer or a reggae singer or whatever singer is. Like I'll just sing my best. And like that's good, right? That's good enough. That's
so
it.
that's
So
why
just,
even that too, like,
yeah.
people say like they'll come to see your show and they'll say like, oh man, I give up on ukulele already, but it's not really that. Like, you don't want to become Aldrine Guerrero with
like
everything,
play your thing. Yeah.
So it just kind of, whenever you see somebody who inspires you, just take it as that, just
as inspiration.
Yeah, I think that is where like a lot of people kind of drop off, is that they say, they look at something and they go, I want that, exactly that. And when they can't reproduce it, right, it is like, it is kind of like, oh, it's kind of depressing. But if you look past
especially little kids, like, oh man, that little kid is so much better than me. But no, it shouldn't be that way.
No. When I grow up, I want to be like Feng Yi.
Yeah.
When I grow up.
That's what I kind of hate that too, like that mentality of like people saying like, oh, it's because like these little kids are so talented that they're that good. And it's like, no, these little kids like work hard. They put in a ton of work to get as good as they can. And by just saying like, oh, it's because of who they are or what they were born with, it's like, you don't see all the time that they put in, like learning songs, struggling just as much as anybody else to try and do things. And even, maybe more so because they're a kid, like they're a kid trying to play full-size guitars or full-size ukuleles, and they gotta struggle, to actually get their muscles working like that. So it is like, it's I understand the frustration, but it is kind of like, that's on you. It's like, it's on you. It's, if you want to get good or get as good as you will get, as good as you want to be, it's all on you, I think.
But I guess little kids have less hang-ups about what they're supposed to be like, so that's kind of to their advantage, right? They don't have
the truest to themselves.
They don't have any preconceptions of like how good I'm supposed to be. So they just do it and figure it out along the way.
I think they said that kids have an easier time learning languages too, and like learning new skill sets, because the elasticity of their brains are actually like more flexible than adults. And like when adults have to learn language, they have to take it through a translator, right? So if they're learning like English to Spanish, they have to think about the English word first, and then they have to translate it to Spanish. Whereas kids kind of just skip over that initial like, oh, I'm learning like this word in English first, then I have to learn this word in whatever. They're just like, oh, I'm just gonna copy whatever that person said, and that's the word for bread. So like from now on, I'm gonna associate this item to this word, and that's why they said kids pick up like languages so much faster.
Interesting. I'm actually reading. I have been reading, but I haven't like been actively reading. There's a book called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, I guess is how you pronounce his name. But it's kind of cool because he talks about two different systems of thinking, the way that we think. And so there's like a fast system and a slow system. And so like our slow system is kind of how we acquire new ideas and conceptualize things. And then the fast system is when we kind of like already internalized it and we can just react. And so that like totally applies to ukulele or language learning or anything like that, where like you learn the bits and pieces first, like you learn the alphabet and then you learn how to string together things, and that's like such a slow system, But once you learn your sight words and you just know that represents that, it's in your brain, the image just pops up. And then you get to the point where you can just like see a sentence and you just know what it is, right? So it's kind of like it's kind of like that. So I guess that would kind of apply in the same way to how you were talking about soloing, right? You know the notes, but you don't think about the names of the notes.
No, just react.
When you're soloing, you're not thinking about the names of the notes in the same way that you're not thinking about the letters, the individual letters when you're reading. So
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
yeah, it's a cool book to check
that is
out.
cool.
In just in general, yeah.
There's like a YouTube, like it's a YouTuber named Smarter Every Day, and he has a video where he has a bike that when you turn the handlebars to the left, the bike wheel turns to the right. He just put like a gear on it, and when you turn the handlebars to the right, it turns to the left. And he showed him like I think he just thought of this, and he works for like a kind of a aerospace, like a jet kind of company or something. So they have like welders there, and he asked one of them to make it for him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, we can do that." And he just like sat on it and tried to ride it, and he's like, "This is the hardest thing I've ever done." And he said it like every day after work he would go and just try to ride in a straight line, and it took him like months, I think, to actually just
to rewire everything.
Yeah, and just to ride like, you know, just a straight line, not anything crazy. It's just riding, keeping your balance and riding in a straight line. So like he eventually, like, because he you know, he thought it was like fascinating, he would take it to whenever he did talks and stuff, and he put it on the stage, and he says, if you ride like 5 feet without touching the ground, I'll give you like $100 right now. And nobody can do it, you know, nobody can like just get on it and then just ride. And he told his son, his young, like pretty young son, he's like, if you can learn how to ride a bike like this, I'll take you to Australia, I think, where he was doing a talk, and you can meet like one of the astronauts who came back from space. And so his son, like, you know, with that incentive, like, I think he said it took him months to learn, and his son learned it in like a week or something, or a couple weeks. So that just shows, like, it really shows like kids, you know, like they can just like that is a part that they have, like they just, you know, they don't get like Aaron said, they don't get hung up on like, oh, I'm getting so frustrated on all of this, or like, why I know my bike so well. His son was just like, I'm gonna learn how to do this. Like I know how to ride a bike.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna learn how to do this. Yeah. So
yeah. I told Kahai that recently I'm learning how to shoot a basketball, because I never did in my entire life. Like I've never learned how to correctly shoot a basketball.
Is it because your girlfriend keeps dunking on you and you're like, I gotta defend myself?
No, because so what happened was, like, my girlfriend played basketball all throughout, like from when she was a little girl, and she's taller, you know, so she's really good. She's been playing for a long time. But we just went to go shoot hoops because the park is like right across the street from my house, and it was like embarrassing, you know. Just like I knew that it was gonna be embarrassing because I don't know how to play basketball, but like it was to the point where it's like kind of sad, you know. And so I've been like going to the park like for a couple weeks straight. I just went to the park like almost every day.
Shoot hoops.
And yeah, just to learn how to, like, not even really shoot from far. I just kind of learned the kind of form that you're supposed to, stance, form, everything, and like I can it's way better now, you know? Yeah, but that was after like 3 weeks of trying to learn to shoot from stationary, not even moving around, not even dribbling or anything. But yeah, it's one of those things where like you have to, like, at first every motion that you do is hard, you know, because it's unnatural. It's not what I usually do in my everyday life. And so you think about it, but then even she was saying, like, you know, when I shoot from this spot, I just remember the feeling of shooting, and when you do it, you know what is off. And so I kind of took that, and then I'm working on that now, like trying to recreate the feeling instead of using, because like my aim is really off. I'm the same as Kahai, like I'm right hand dominant but left eye dominant, and so that really messes up, you know, all of your aim up. And so you have to really like learn your form first, practice, and then whenever you get things right, you remember that feeling and then try to recreate the feeling. So the same thing with your chunks, same thing with, like, you know, holding the E chord. It's like, you know.
because it'll feel right. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to explain that feeling, but it'll feel right when you do, when it comes out correct or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Exactly.
and it's definitely a different feeling than doing it wrong. I mean, let's see, I've been doing cardistry, and when I do something correct, like, and I'll tell Kahai, and I'm like, oh, this is like how it feels, like
Yeah.
and I just keep trying to recreate that same feeling whenever I do like a trick correctly, and
There's
man,
there's also a difference between that and results, right? Because you can get the same result, but the feeling can be off.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
even like with the archery that I do, or with archery, you'll see professionals who shoot and they hit the bullseye. They hit like center of the target bullseye, and they get frustrated, and it's like, oh, but they hit the target. Why are they mad? And it's because they know that they messed up something with their shot, and they just got lucky. Like the wind blew it over into the right spot, or they were able to twitch their arm in the last second to correct it. But that's not good form, and for them, that's like, oh, I want to be the same. I want to be consistent 100% of the time.
You want to aim for consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's interesting because, yeah, you want to aim for consistency, but the more you practice outside of like the things that or like, practice wrong notes, that's also aiming for consistency in a way too, because you're practicing, right? Like, oh, I'm practicing for not being uncomfortable with this thing and how to correct it. And so the more you practice that, like, no matter what comes up, what situation comes up, is like, I am comfortable with every single note on the fretboard, so it doesn't really matter if I miss one or I mess up one. I'm gonna get the next one anyways.
Yeah. All right, so any closing statements before we go? We've like passed our time.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to talk about?
Our songs are gonna be played next week, right?
Next week.
So,
yeah.
If people can work on that, just a reminder.
Yeah. Theme songs, I believe, is in the key of A. Did we do A?
Yeah.
Okay. Key
I'm
of
having a hard
A
time
theme
with this
songs.
one.
I haven't even started, so this just like high school, it's always that.
Night before.
Don't do it, kids. Or you'll be teaching ukulele. Like, be that engineer, doctor, or lawyer that you want to be, and do things on time. All right, guys. So check out the new lesson. Once again, featuring Cynthia and ukulele. It's Electric Boogie, or the Electric Slide. That's here on Ukulele Underground. Check out the play along over on YouTube. And stick around for the one-on-one coaching. And tomorrow we have Aloha Friday Live Jam. So we'll see you then. Aloha.